All right. Hangout says we're live, so we're live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to In the Pocket, presented by CrossBonesMMA. My name is Eddie Law. With me today, you can't see him because we had to go a little, what would you say, cavemanish on the technology. Yeah. But if you guys have heard of Andrew Reed, his boy Max Reed's on with us today. How you doing, man?
All right, guys. How you doing, pal?
Good, good. So again, you won't be able to see him right now, but at some point we're gonna be able to get him on here with the video. So hopefully that'll work well. Anyway, all right. So obviously, actually, you know what? Tell me a bit about yourself. How long you been watching MMA and all that?
Probably started watching when I was about 14, I think. Yeah, so about 8 years. Like I think around that time. I think the first card I watched was like UFC, like 93 or around that. And yeah, one of my friends just like showed me Vanderlei and Crow Cop and Vanderlei stomping on people. So I was like, sweet, is this a sport? I got to watch it. So, and then I went down the rabbit hole.
No, man. You know, my favorite as far as like stomping people wasn't even a stomp. It was Shogun soccer kicking people. That was like one of my favorite things to ever see.
Yeah, literally, like he's my favorite of all time. Like all the Pride DVDs I have, every single one of them has a Shogun fight on it. He's such a badass. Yeah,
and look, he's fighting this weekend, so we can talk about him a little more. All right, let's throw down a couple things here. First of all, let's talk about last weekend, UFC Fight Night, Overeem versus Arlovsky. Overeem winning the fight the way I thought it was going to go. I thought it was going to be a pretty easy knockout for him. I think that went to the second round. What'd you think about that fight, man?
Well, I'm not a big fan of Overeem, and I was really, really hoping that Arlovsky resurgence was gonna carry on. I'm a fan of Overeem in terms of how good he is as a fighter and a kickboxer and all that jazz, but I just think he's a bit of a prick. But it went as I was hoping it was. Head says Overeem and heart said Arlovsky, so it sort of went down as expected. It was a bit of a beatdown, but.
Hey, you know what? Here's the thing. A lot of people were hoping Overeem was going to lose, but and I'm an Arlovsky fan as well. And I was thinking he had a chance, but I thought the new Overeem, was going to be a little more cautious, and he was for the first round. That second round though, he just caught Andre, and Andre had nothing for him. What about that co-main event, dude? 14 feet of human being that lasted 13 seconds in a fight, but Struve saying he never left. He finally has had a showcase, right? A showcase kind of fight. What do you think about Stefan Struve knocking out Antonio Silva?
I thought it was pretty wicked to see. I'm sad for Bigfoot, obviously, because I don't know. It's just ever since the Hunt fight, I'm sure everyone has that a little place in their heart for him, just because he's such a warrior. But then obviously the whole USADA thing coming and all that jazz. But yeah, I'm happy for Stefan Struve, to be honest. After everything that he's been through and that, and the same with most people that watch him, it was quite frustrating to never see him use his huge frame. If he turned into semi-shilt or someone that could actually do it. So it was nice to see him just get a quick victory, and hopefully has a quick turnaround and can do something pretty soon as well. Get back on track.
Yeah, Stefan Struve, obviously heart issues have been keeping him out of fights and all that. We're hoping this kicks something off for him. Just like you said, he's not old at all. So I think he's 20. He's still in his late 20s. So I believe he's got plenty of time to do something, especially with these days where literally anybody in the heavyweight division could get a title shot. You know what I mean? Everyone's getting hurt. It's the heavyweight division is all kinds of crazy. But hey, look, we were talking about before the show, Albert Tumanov against Gunnar Nelson. You were going for Tumanov. I thought Tumanov was going to win. I legit thought he was going to be able to smash Gunny, and Gunny was able to get that neck crank in the second round. What do you think about Gunnar Nelson now? I mean, after that, whooping he took at Maya's hands, coming back strong with a finish against Tumanov.
That's sort of I really wanted Tumanov to win because that exact reason, just because he got beat down so hard. But I say beat down, strategically manhandled by Damian Maia. What was it, 30-25 on some?
It was so one-sided. I didn't even know why they bothered going to the third round. Really? You know what? Here's an idea for MMA organizations out there. A mercy rule, okay? If for the first two rounds, one guy clearly gets clobbered, he didn't even get clobbered. He got dominated, embarrassed on the ground. It was just a complete domination by Damian Maia. If after the second round, there's just no way he's going to win unless he gets some kind of finish, and you don't see that happening, some kind of mercy rule, just tell the guy, tell Gunnar Nelson, you want to get embarrassed some more, or are you done? because this looks bad for you. But yeah.
You did super well. Like, he came back on a different level. Like, he came back really, really good.
Yeah, I was impressed by Gunny. I really was. And I thought Tumenov was going to be a much harder test for him than he was. But I'm still not low on Tumenov. I mean, you don't go on a 5-fight win streak, and not drop the ball every couple times, or once in a while. But Tumenov's 24. Gunner is still I think late 20s or mid 20s, if he's even that old. So he's got plenty of time to come back and do something and make a run. 27. He'll make a run at 170, no problem. He's crazy. All right, the other fight I had on here, I kind of want to talk about was where is it? Is it Krylov? I don't even remember, dude. Now my memory's gone. By the way, we constantly break the fourth wall on every single one of our shows, so we're not even worried about that. The other fight, Kyoji Origuchi against Neil Seery. Not the most, no one got finished, but it was actually, to me, it was an exciting fight. But Kyoji Origuchi thinking he has another shot at Demetrius Johnson. If he gets a title shot, another fight against Demetrius, does it go the same way, or do you think he does better against DJ?
See, it's the worst thing about the flyweight division, isn't it? It's just the fact that there's not enough people there, so they just chuck everyone in too soon. I think I love Horiguchi, and I think I fancy his chances against Demetrius Johnson all the time, obviously, but there's just, there's only so much a puncher's chance can give you. And I know he's good all round, but I think it just goes the same way, 99 times out of 100, if I'm honest.
Yeah, and real quick, because I have to say, because he was on the YouTube chat, my boy Jay Russell, you guys saw him on last week's actually the last two Keyboard Warriors. He's a big Toronto Raptors fan. Toronto pulling off a really close win, I think, last night against the Heat. And that kills the sleep for people in Canada. It really does, because those games are late. So Homeboy's going to go take a nap right now. But he says he just said Toronto Raptors, and so I give him a shout out. Anyway, yeah, he's my boy. All right. So that's it. I think that's the only fight I want to talk about there on that. Oh, by the way, I feel really bad for Willie Gates. I thought Willie Gates was going to be able to do something, and to get a rear naked choke by Yuta Sasaki was kind of it was dope. It was cool. But damn, I felt bad for him.
Sasaki just came in with that sort of the contingency plan, didn't he? Because he knew, I think he was on a 2-fight losing streak, wasn't he? And I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay, real quick. Did you hear? Because it just popped up on my screen again. Now, I heard about this last night, and nobody's covered it. I'm on a couple of the big MMA websites, and nothing about it. You hear about Vanderlei Silva got hit by a car?
Yeah, I know. That's bananas, isn't it? Apparently he's going to have shoulder surgery or something.
Something crazy. Apparently he was on a bicycle and he got hit by a car. And the only reason I found out is because I follow him on Facebook, and it just popped up. And it was just it was in Portuguese, so I had to hit the translation button. It was got hit by a car, had to have surgery, pray for me or something like that. And I was like, holy shit. And so I went to all the big websites, and nothing, not a word, nothing. But those are the same guys that are going to cover a Rogan podcast and write down every word Brendan Schaub says. What the fuck? Come on with that stuff.
Embarrassing. When a proper legend is that's pretty big news. If you're not going to comment on anything in the MMA world that isn't a fight or an event that's just gone by, then it's something to do, it's something like that. But no, everyone just concentrates on a bunch of other bullshit like McGregor and Mayweather.
Yeah. Now, message to MMA fighters. Can we stay off the streets? If you have a car, drive it. If you need an Uber, a taxi, whatever the hell, stay off the streets. First, rest in peace, Jordan Parsons. We lose our boy Jordan, but then Vanderlei Silva getting hit and everything. It's just I don't know about you, but I always see things happen in threes. So everybody else, just don't move. Just stay home. Get on a bus if you have to, but don't walk anywhere because people are driving like psychos out here. Yeah, so that was treatment, man. I saw it, no one covered it, and I'm looking at MMA Junkie. Doesn't even have it anywhere near the top of the page. It's somewhere in the middle. So I find it really weird that media does that. I really don't like that, but whatever.
You joking? Junkie hasn't even commented on it.
Yeah, that's true.
What's it?
Let's talk about something else that's kind of big. And it's something that most people have been watching or following MMA, but specifically the UFC, have probably thought about once or twice. If anyone has watched Keyboard Warriors before, myself, Aaron Robbins, and Fred Kirby, we always talked about this. The possible sale of the UFC. Now, what they've been talking about by the way, this is made not only MMA podcasts and websites, this is being talked about by mainstream sports media. And, you know, they're talking about billions, $3 billion, $4 billion, stuff like that. It's a weird thing. Look, in business, you never give away your deals, right? But to buy a company for $2 million and get $3 to $4 billion out of it, as a businessman, I would have to say, right? But Dana White making the rounds, denying it like crazy, saying they're trying to expand. In fact, trying to expand it to Asia, which, by the way, is owned by one championships right now. But they're trying to expand it into Asia more. What do you think of this? The UFC selling a company like this, UFC, or you think it could be worse? And I'm talking about in terms of fighters, you know, fighter pay, fighter treatment, all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I don't know. It depends how it all goes. Like it's sort of, if it ends up like, if it just becomes, say, like an organization rather than like, because what's the format of it at the moment? Like, you know, because it's sort of, you know, you got like WBO, WBC and stuff like that. Like, could it turn into something like that where it's just a big sort of figurehead where they just give out a UFC belt and people can go fight wherever they want? Because Asians do that sort of. Asian, you know, that's how, you know, they do that sort of. You can see it in all their, you know, I mean, apart from one championship where they are signing people into exclusive contracts. Usually in Asia, you can sort of fight where you want. So for that reason, I suppose it could be really, really good. But I don't know. I really like how it's doing now. Like, if I'm honest.
Definitely. All right, let's talk about let's see, this weekend's card. Oh no, you know, I wanted to get your thoughts on this because I know, like, on Twitter, you know, everyone has their own opinion and all that. And then recently, people talking about Conor McGregor gets death threats and all this kind of crazy stuff. What do you think about this whole thing with Conor and the UFC? Obviously, Conor didn't want to do not any kind, but he didn't want to do the mini world tour with the press conferences. He didn't want to do all the media again or the 10-hour commercial shoot. And so the UFC, you know, he basically started a pissing contest with the UFC, and the UFC said, "Oh, really? Okay, you're sitting." There it is. Now we got DC Jones as the main event. What do you think about this whole thing with McGregor and the UFC? Well, I guess a better question is, who would you side with in that whole thing?
It's hard to say, really. Like, it's the same, because, you know, he was like, "Oh, thanks for making the trip," and all that sort of stuff, but who's made 400 mil for the UFC or in the past 2 years or whatever? And it's like, yeah, that's all well and good that you did that, but, you know, that you aren't bigger than the UFC. Simple, like simple as that. Like, deal with it. Like, don't cry about it. Like, you know, I think it's just the fact that he lost to Nate. I think everything's just sort of messing with him, so he's just sort of like outwardly, you know, exerting it, and he's just sort of going a bit nuts. And I don't know what he was thinking when he did it, but, like, you know, like they said, like, you know, was it like Claudia came from Brazil and Joanna came from Poland and all that sort of shit? They just put their camps on hold for a little bit and came back. It's like, what, 12 weeks out? So to be honest, like, it's hard to say, because I want to side with, you know, the majority of MMA fighters, because who am I to say? So technically it's their word. Like, and it seems like, you know, 51% of MMA fighters are on his side. So it's a bit of a toss up, really. I'm not too sure. What about you?
Here's the thing. Here's what I thought about this. I understand what Conor's saying, and he makes really good points. At the same time, Nate, like, everyone knew Conor was going to show up. Like, the UFC knew Conor was going to show up, and Nate Diaz still showed up. You know what I mean? To me, if your opponent's going to show up and you don't, you look like a punk. You know what I mean? Now, of course, everyone was throwing out, you know, he's trying to cycle off his PEDs. He's trying to do whatever. I personally think he's trying to cram as much jiu-jitsu as possible. That when he comes back, and it takes at least maybe third, fourth round to get choked out this time. Why not? And look, I understand what Conor was saying. We're not, you know, he said he's not paid to promote yet. Kind of, sort of. But he says, I'm not paid to promote yet and all that. And he just wants to focus on training. That's going back to, like, the basics of mixed martial arts, right? You want to train and you want to fight. You know, the Diaz brothers are maybe not Nate so much anymore, but Nick Diaz is famous for spreading the media, right? There's been stories of guys from other countries. I think there was a guy from Australia flew to Stockton, California to interview him, and Nick Diaz didn't show up. And then when he got a call about it, he goes, "Oh, I forgot that was happening." And I don't even know if they actually went through the interview or not, but this dude flew thousands of miles or whatever it is from Australia to interview Nick Diaz. And yeah, that's how it went down. He just didn't show up. So, but they hate doing the media. Just want to train and fight. So it's really weird, and people throw that as another reason to have a like a union, like a fighters union. Pretty much every major sport has a union of its own. You know, Major League has their union. Major League Baseball has a union. National Basketball Association has a union. Football has a union. You know, and it's real weird. What do you think of an MMA union for the fighters? Would that help or would that hurt things?
To be honest, I don't see how it could sort of be a detriment, if I'm honest. Like, but it just seems like an unachievable goal. Like it seems like if it was really, really attainable, then surely, I mean, obviously the champions wouldn't need to because they're earning enough money. But if it was really attainable, like more people than, you know, Nate Quarry and Kung Lee would be doing it. Like it would be, I think more fighters would be in on it. Like, so either they haven't heard about it, which I can't really believe, or they don't see much sort of weight in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unions are tricky, right? Because there's I mean, and I'm not talking about sports unions. Unions overall, some of them can be pretty. I mean, we've seen the culinary union in Vegas somehow was able to block MMA in New York. That's how creepy unions can be. An athlete's union is for the benefit of the fighter, of the athlete. But there's so much that goes into it. I think making an MMA union would be difficult, but I think if done correctly, it would help. I think everybody, not just the fighters. I think it would help the organizations as well. So I mean, hopefully something works out with it. At the same time, if I would not be surprised if it's like coming sooner than later, and like Zuffa sees it, Fertitta see it coming, and Dana White sees it coming, and maybe that's why these UFC for sale rumors are coming up, because maybe it's true, and they're like, let's get out of here before that happens. This is bull. You know what I mean? Like, it's a weird thing. I'm not sure. And on that, the last part on that topic, if the UFC sells and the new owners aren't able to retain Dana White, do you see the UFC still growing at all?
Probably not, if I'm honest. Like, that's what my dad and I were chatting about the other day. Actually, we were saying how if it is sold, that like any person that's going to be buying it, they're like, we want Dana. Like, they probably don't even care about anything but like, the three letters in Dana at that point. Like they just know that he's just got such a pull, and everyone hangs on to every word he says, and he's just controversial. He just gets so many eyes on it, and he's so good for it. So I actually don't see it. If it does grow, it definitely isn't going to grow as fast as it like will with Dana, his gun in face, like just there everywhere you go. Like what other sort of organization? Like you don't see Chatri Sitchatong like from ONE FC just everywhere. Like it's just really strange. So I think without Dana, it wouldn't fare very well.
Yeah, I think that would definitely be part of the deal. We need the bald man to come with us. That's kind of what it is. And you're right. You know what? Dana White brings a lot of attention to himself, not on purpose. That's when you're the guy driving the ship, everyone looks at you. So it's that kind of thing. That's probably the other reason that he stopped cussing his head off at pressers, because everyone's watching everything he says, and that can get you in trouble. So, all right. Yeah, let's talk about this weekend, man. We got UFC 198 Saturday, May 14th, early fight pass. And look, this card is ridiculous. It's insane. Now let's just get the sad elephant out of the room immediately. Anderson Silva out due to gallbladder surgery. There we go. English is my second language, people, so don't worry. But he's out. Hall and the UFC couldn't agree on a replacement opponent, so he's out. So that fight's gone. Even then, this fight is ridiculous. When Matt Brown is on the prelims, that card's ridiculous. Okay, all right. So
on the Fight Pass prelims, something's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And honestly, Maya was upset about it. He was pretty upset about being on the prelims. He was talking about how ridiculous it is, but I don't even care. I just want to see the guy fight. All right, UFC Fight Pass prelims, early prelims, and this is only for the U.S. I don't know what time it is in the U.K. I guess just add 8 hours. West Coast time, I believe is what it is.
Yeah, I think it'll probably start. The main card will be 3 a.m. here.
Do you go to sleep, or like take a nap or something, or before the night start?
I'm a trooper, and then sometimes there's like Japanese kickboxing on like a Sunday morning, so I just like don't sleep for like the whole weekend.
You get up on Monday just like, oh, I don't know why I did that. All right. So again, bypass prelims, early prelims start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time. First fight of the night, Renato Moicano against Zubaida Tukhugov. I'm not gonna make picks because I don't know these guys that well, but I would think I would side with the Russian because most of these Russians are scary cats. You know what I mean? Like, what's his name? Who wrestled with the bear? And I can't believe Khabib, right?
Oh yeah, Khabib, yeah. That's nutter.
Yeah, seriously, wrestling with a bear. And there's a video of him doing it. That's the crazy thing. As a little kid, it's like, I don't know, whatever. Russians, you guys are psychos, but awesome.
When that first came out, do you remember on Twitter, he basically put a tweet out. It was like, where did you find that video? Like, really, like, oh God, what if I get in trouble for this? And everyone started going, oh my God, that's so funny. That's amazing. And he embraced it. It was like, yeah, I wrestled a bear and shit.
It's so crazy, man. Yeah. I want my kids to be badasses like that, but there's no bears in Arizona because it's too damn hot. So, is what it is. All right. After that first fight, we got Sergio Moraes, the Panther, against Luan Tarzan Chagas. I believe Chagas is making his debut, and I think he's a late replacement. I'm not sure. So, you know, by the way, if you know any of these guys that I don't know, go ahead and let me know because I have no idea who this Chagas guy is. Yeah. Here's one that we do know, and again, it's weird that it's in the Fight Pass prelims, but I understand what the UFC is trying to do, trying to get more eyes on Fight Pass and get people to sign up. But the feature fight on early prelims on Fight Pass is Little Nog against Patrick Cummins. Now, I like the legends. I love to pick Little Nog in this fight. I really want to pick Little Nog in this fight. I have a hard time doing that. Who you got in this fight, and what do you think happens?
Once again, I'm going to bet with my heart, and I'm going to cry. I'm going to find a corner and cry in it because Rogerio is probably just going to get, I don't know. I'm just hoping, like, because he's always been a good boxer. Like, people, like, forget how good, like, you know, how much, like, how amazing they are as boxers, like both Nogueira brothers. People forget how damn good they are, like, with their hands. But, you know, I'm just hoping, win or lose, he just retires. Once again, who am I to say? But it's just, I just don't want him to get battered. If he wins, then retire on a high note. If he loses, then that's a good call to just, you know, get UFC money like his brother, like, for not fighting.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Yeah, and I'm with you. Win or lose, I hope, you know, and you're right. Who are we to tell them to retire? You know, only an athlete can say when they're done, right? But you know, he's one of those guys that you don't want to see get beat up. Just like before, when BJ Penn was fighting, you know, Frankie Edgar before the fight, I was like, please don't do it. Frankie's gonna tag you up, and it was the saddest fight I've seen in my life. And now he's gonna fight Cole Miller.
Oh God, Cole Miller. Oh, like Cole Miller wasn't. Wait. Yeah, whose team was he on? Because he was on like Tough 3, wasn't he? It wasn't. Was it BJ or Jens?
Was it BJ?
If it is, then that's pretty tight.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna watch it anyway, but I completely forgot about the Tough thing.
Yeah, because it was either season 3 or 4. It was one with Nate, wasn't it? So was that 4?
Oh, he was on Jens Pulver's team, so that might even be better.
Right. That's still pretty funny though, bloody hell! But oh, bless him.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, Cole Miller, you get to fight a big name, go for it, but please don't beat him up too much, man. BJ Penn's a legend. All right, don't hurt my boy too much. Just let him live. All right. Yeah. So, but that's on UFC 189. So I don't know why we even brought that up. I think just because of the Nogueira thing. All right. So that's 6:30 p.m. Eastern, 3:30 p.m. Pacific time on the FS1 prelims. Which again, this is a Saturday card, so we hope there's no like craziness like NASCAR. We don't have to worry about basketball anymore. But sometimes NASCAR's on and it like they move the broadcast of the prelims to like FS2, and it just screws everything up. But yeah. Anyway, first fight on those prelims is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time on FS1. Dude, this is a good fight. John Lineker, Rob Font. What do you think?
Oh yeah, every time John Lineker's fighting, I want to watch it. Like, because this bantamweight. This fight.
This fight is bantamweight 35. Yeah, 35.
Yeah, because was it when he was cut into flyweight that he just kept missing weight? So is this a bit?
Yeah, I still think he's a big 135er too. You know. Yeah. So to go down to 125 for John Lineker was bad. He kept missing weight. So now 135. Taking on Rob Font. Rob Font's no punk, but again, we're in Brazil and you're taking on Hands of Stone. Like I'm here real quick before we finish off the prelims. Home I guess, home country advantage. Do you believe in it? If you're a Brazilian fighting Brazil, do you think that kind of, you know, besides the judges, which we know the story about the judges, especially the ones in Brazil, but do you think that does something to you that will make a fighter, you know, almost like give him like Superman, make him Superman for a day?
Yeah, I reckon so. Like that, like it's I remember I used to play Def Jam. You know the Def Jam games, all the rappers used to fight each other. And I remember as you do better, the crowd would get louder, and like you get like your momentum bar would build. And I've always carried that around, like it actually does exist. Like it just gives you that mental edge. You're just like, there's no way I can win, you know, that type of thing. Obviously, you know, I can't, you know, if you're fighting Anderson Silva or something, and you're Michael Bisping in the UK. I mean, I don't really believe he won that fight, but you know, that type of thing, then you know Anderson Silva's going to batter you every time. But I think it can give you an edge, and you know we've seen it a few times. I mean, you know, there's a few times where not at all, like Gustafsson and Rumble, but that was an anomaly, we'll say.
Yeah. All right, next fight up, man. Francisco Trinaldo against Yancy Medeiros. Yancy Medeiros, you know, Hawaii, California guy. Mostly Hawaii, but he trains in California, I believe. Sometimes with the Diaz brothers, if not all the time, I think maybe. I'm not a fan of Trinaldo. Like he could do way better than he does in his fights. I think he just lets off the gas and then tires out. I like Yancy in this fight, man. Who you got in here in this one?
Yeah, I probably got Yancy Medeiros. It's just like that gritty style that he always brings. Like that you can tell that like Gilbert and you know the Diaz's have like brushed off on him. He's like, yeah, I I like him. He's gritty and he's quite pragmatic as well. So but to be honest, what's Francisco Trinaldo? He hasn't lost in a while, has he?
As far as I can see, he hasn't in a minute. I'm trying to pull up his record, but the last fight he had, I thought was gonna be, you know, like a slugfest, and I think he got a decision win on it. I don't remember, but
oh yeah, he fought Ross Pearson.
Yeah, there it is, Ross Pearson. That's right. Everyone thought it was gonna be some kind of knockout, and it wasn't at all.
Yeah, that was really boring. Yeah, I was like, I think I got one of my friends round to watch it, and where was that actually? It was like, oh right, yeah. I got one of my friends around to watch, and I was like, yeah, watch this, it's going to be nuts. Like, you know, Ross Pearson's either going to get knocked out or he's going to knock him out. And it was just, you know, an average fight.
Yeah, it was boring. That was at Dillashaw versus Cruz in Boston. So, yeah, that dude's weird. Like, sometimes you think he's going to, you always hope he brings it, and then he just lays an egg and gives you a kind of a boring fight. So, it sucks. But, yeah, he hasn't lost in a minute, so he's still got momentum. Hopefully this one's gonna be. I think Medeiros gonna make him fight in this one. Though. I don't think he's gonna let him sit on the outside or just, you know, take it easy. All right, next fight up: Thiago Santos, a Brazilian, against Nate Marquardt. Now Nate Marquardt coming off of I believe he's coming off a win, if I'm not mistaken.
CB,
you know, was that?
Yeah, I think it was CB Dollaway, wasn't it?
That's right.
That totally wrong.
That's right. Because right after the card, I forgot which, it was like a UFC. Yeah, it was Dos Anjos Cerrone too. And after the card, I think I got on YouTube or something and lost my shit because I can't stand CB Dollaway. And I was so happy he knocked him out. I was like, that's goddamn right, Nate Marquardt. Fucking right. Yes. And like, you know, people were giving me shit because there's actually, I didn't know CB Dollaway had fans, but he has fans. And, you know, fine, yeah, whatever. It was a knockout. It was awesome. And now he's taking on Thiago Santos. Santos is a guy who he'll knock you the hell out. And Marquardt's been knocked out. This is I think this is a tougher fight for him than CB, because CB was for sure going to take the fight to the ground, and Nate Marquardt's a wrestler, so good luck with that. But this is a little different here in this fight. What do you think happens in this one?
I don't know. It's pretty hard to tell, if I'm honest. Like, based on Nate Marquardt's sort of like, you know, recent performances. I mean, other than his CB fight.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know, you want to say that he's actually fairly beatable. Like, he's not necessarily on the tail end of his career. I mean, you know, people can fight, you know, until they're 42 and still be decent. You know, but he's what, 37 or something along those lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's 37.
Yeah. So I don't know. And Thiago Santos hasn't lost in about however many fights as well.
Yeah, he has 3 fights. Wins over Andy and Steve Boss and Elias Teodoro.
Oh yeah, Elias was his last fight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I was actually. Yeah, I like Thiago Santos in this, and if I'm honest, I think he's probably just gonna TKO Marquardt, if I'm honest.
Yeah, if he's able to stop Marquardt from taking him down, it should be a pretty nice TKO win for him. Okay, all right, next fight up, man. We got the featured prelim, and one that we're really not sure why it's a prelim, but whatever you want to do. In fact, I would move this one to the first fight of the main card, but you know, UFC chooses to do what they want. All right, number 6, welterweight Damian Maia against number 8 Matt Brown. This is going to be a good fight, but okay, let me take that back here. Damian Maia embarrassed out of Gunnar Nelson, right? He's gonna take Matt Brown down, man. And if Matt Brown can stop from getting taken down, I think this would be a good fight. If he can make Maia stay on his feet and make it really ugly. But I don't know, man. I guess Damian Maia. I think Maia's got so much momentum. He should be able to take this in the first round. But who you got in this one?
Yeah, I'm saying Damian Maia. Like, there's certain, it doesn't necessarily translate to striking, but
right.
There's certain people that no matter what they do, they're just gonna get you with it. Like, there's certain, kickboxers probably couldn't do it. Like, boxers probably couldn't do it. But with grapplers, if they want to manhandle you and they're having a good night, you are going to be manhandled no matter what. So I think he's probably just going to get a hold of Matt Brown. But we've seen Matt Brown submit people, and he's got some really good elbows from the top as well. But yeah, I think Damian might, and with a bit of luck, I hope as well. I hope he's going to beat him as well, because I'd like to see him versus Robbie. I mean,
look, man, I'll tell you what. I'd like to see anybody but Tyron Woodley against Robbie Lawler.
God damn it, yeah.
I just would. I can't. Look, I don't hate Tyron Woodley, but the fact that they give him credit for that Condit win really bothers me. And that's a big W on your record, you know what I mean? So, So, I don't know. It is what it is. So, again, FS1 prelims, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. And then we get into the main card. Now, the first fight was supposed to be Anderson Silva against Uriah Hall. Now, again, Anderson Silva, surgery, can't fight. Hall withdrew. They couldn't agree to a fight. Now, you got bummed out. I did too, because I want to see. That's like almost like young Silva against old Silva, sort of, right? But had that fight gone down, who were you picking in that?
Oh, it's so hard to say. I think we saw flashes of brilliance, like the 07, 08 Anderson. Like, we saw that in the Bisping fight with the knee and like a few other sort of little moves that he did. Like, I think if with a bit of luck, he's watched that tape and been like, right, I need to do way more this time. Like, all the flash, I need to, if it would have went down, I think Anderson, because we've seen Uriah be beat by lesser opponents. So I know he's on the come up and stuff, but I think if Anderson, watched the Bisping fight back and said, yeah, I want to do that, but more. Yeah, I don't think Uriah Hall would have done it.
Yeah, I liked Hall in that fight. If he came out to fight, I mean, sometimes he has a hard time. The phrase they use is pull the trigger. Cowboy Cerrone famous for waiting forever to get started, and that's how RDA jacked him. So it's if Uriah Hall had come out, pulled the trigger, and gone after him a little bit, we saw that in the last 2 fights, Anderson Silva's been in the first round at least. He's kind of like little careful, a little more cautious. Unlike he used to be. He used to be just an animal and just go in there and take people out, but. It'd have been. I think I would have taken Hall. If you use MMA brain, but again, I pick on my heart just like you do a lot of the time, and I'd have gone with Silva and just hope that he won. So that's yeah. Anyway, so the fight that takes over their spot in the main card, first fight of the main, Warley Alves against Brian Barberena. Barberena is kind of a guy that comes into these fights. He's an underdog almost every time he fights, and he's actually pulled off a couple of decent upsets. Meanwhile, Alves is a guy that can hit real hard, and he's good on the ground. Like, you can't mess with him on the ground too much. He's 10-0. He's undefeated. Obviously, has won all 4 of his fights in the octagon so far. Wins over Marcio Alexander, aka Machida Jr. I guess I don't know what they were calling him. He fights just like that guy. They call him Machida or Lyoto. Sorry, they call him Lyoto. Then Alan Jouban, Nordine Taleb, and Colby Covington. Win over Barberena doesn't really give him a title shot, but I think it gives him a top 10 guy pretty easily. Barberena, meanwhile, coming off that submission win over Sage Northcutt, where most of us were kind of like, finally, the hype is dead. You know what I mean? But he's got hands and a couple submission wins. I like Warley in this one because I think Warley can stand with him, hurt him, and then finish him on the ground. So that's why I'm going to pick in this fight. Who you got in this one? Yeah,
I'd probably go Warley Alves as well because. Like Barberena is good and stuff like that, but who has he beat in the UFC? Like, he beat Sage, which is
that's his biggest win in the UFC.
But yeah, exactly. Like he lost to
Chad Priest decision.
Priest, that's it. Yeah, before that, and it's I can't see him beating Wally out. Like did Wally Alves win like Tough Brazil 2 or 3 or something? Was that?
I'm pretty sure I think he won. Dude, and I actually watched that season because I was interested in that. Let me find out. But yeah, I mean, look, and he's got. Let me see if I find it on here. Yeah, he's the winner of Tough Brazil 3. Yeah. All right. So yeah, in that fight, so we're both picking Alves on that one. Again, Barberena hasn't beat anybody other than the Sage fight. And let's be honest with ourselves. Sage is a nobody. He's hyped up. All right, that kid needs plenty of work. Him and Paige, as great as they are for marketing and everything, they're not ready for these top fighters. Barberena showed us that, and Doug Rose just showed us that with Paige too. So, yeah. Meanwhile, Paige Van Zandt looking gorgeous on that show. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the screenshots on Twitter. Beautiful girl. Not that she's never not hot, but still, yeah. It's some girls are just so hot, it's insane. All right. Next fight, one that I'm like half looking forward to, and it's because one of the guys in that fight is Shogun, Mauricio Shogun Rua, against Corey Anderson, who I can't stand. Not just because he tries to just, hump you to a win, but because his nickname is Beasting 25-8. Because that's for some reason cool. Dude, come on. We're all on the same clock here, dude. There's no 25-8. All right, if there's 25-8, if you really think it's 25-8 in a week, all right, you for sure need to talk to your drug dealer and tell him to stop giving you the crazy shit, because that's not real. 25 is not real, my friend. All right. But regardless, in this fight, what's that?
I think that's the best nickname ever.
I can't do it. I forgot this one is like my favorite nickname. I can't remember right now. If it ever comes up again, for sure I'm gonna tweet it to you.
Andre's a good one.
What's that? Touchy feely. I love that one. Love that one. All right, so Shogun, obviously he's good on the ground, jiu-jitsu. Corey Anderson's put that pressure, that wrestler pressure. He can hit hard. Shogun's got good striking. He's over at Kings MMA now with Rafael Cordero, Verdum, RDA, all those guys striking. Immediately got better going over there. What do you expect in this fight?
With a bit of luck, like my favorite fighter of all time kicks shit out of him, but I don't know. Like, I Shogun over everyone for me. Like, no matter what, Shogun over everyone. Really, no matter who he fights, is Shogun over everyone. But I don't know. It's going to be hard to watch if it is another beatdown, because his last fight was a win, wasn't it? When he fought Nogueira, that was wasn't quite as exciting as their first one. But like he's yeah. So he's on a 2-fight win streak now. Or was his last loss?
Right now he only has that fight over Nogueira. He had a 2-fight losing streak. He got knocked out and his nose got nearly removed by OSP. And then Dan Henderson TKO'd him in the 3rd round. Also destroyed his nose, now that I think about it. So he's only got 1 fight. This would make it a 2-fight win streak. But at 34 years old and a lot of MMA miles on him, man, it's kind of hard to think that he's gonna make any kind of run.
Yeah. Like I like to say like he's only ever like 2-3 fights from a title shot just because of his name. Yeah. But I just hope they sort of give him a few opponents that he can beat. I don't know if that's a bit it's a bit disrespectful to his legacy just to give him a bunch of people that he can beat like nowadays. But I don't know. I just want to see him just stomp on people again. I want to see him kick the shit out of people again, and it's just. Every time he fights, it just doesn't happen. It gets me so upset.
Yeah, and that's where my very hidden secret hope of him going to Rising one day, where they allow him to inject whatever the hell he wants to, and then he can soccer kick motherfuckers. That's exactly my secret hope, or my tiny hope somewhere that happens at some point. So, hoping. But look, man, and again, I'm with you. I hope Shogun wins. I really do hope Shogun wins and brings something new, that new striking, whatever he's got. But Corey Anderson makes fights grueling, makes them, he makes them really, really. It makes it really hard to fight him, basically. So, and only because he's on top of you most of the time. All right, moving on to the next fight, one that people are calling a funeral. I don't agree, but people are calling it a funeral. All right. Cyborg makes her debut in the UFC finally, and she does it when Ronda's not here. So of course here come all the people saying Ronda's running. I don't know anything about that, so I don't care. But Cyborg and the only girl to step up to fight her, Leslie Smith. First of all, Leslie Smith. If you guys don't know who Leslie Smith is, she's the crazy chick that got her ear ripped off her head in Mexico and kept yelling at the crowd. I can still fight. It doesn't hurt. And I'm like, you can't hear, dude. Like, what are you talking about? I can see your brain through the hole. Like, part of me wanted to let that fight go, but because she's got guts. Again, a Diaz, one of the Diaz training, or she trains with the Diaz brothers and the Scrap Pack. So, but again, people think it's gonna be a funeral, some kind of just execution. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I think Cyborg's got it. I think it's, there's only a certain amount of people that can go into the UFC and actually be UFC caliber, like without having that sort of, the build up. And we've got John Jones, and like there's only been a few fighters that have gone straight into the UFC after they're like, and just not really faded. And I think Cyborg's going to do exactly that. And I think they're probably going to introduce a weight class as well. I can see that happening. But yeah, I can see because Leslie Smith's fought at 145 before, hasn't she?
Yeah, she has.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and look, first of all, they're making 125-pound women's division, so for sure the 135ers and the 115 girls are eyeing that 125, the new one coming up for that, right? But a 140 division couldn't be too bad. Now I'm interested to see if Cyborg can make that weight, because she always looks pretty bad when she makes 145. I mean, 5 extra pounds. I mean, look, she makes that. First of all, she makes that 5 extra pounds. She makes 140. Guarantee the calls are coming for her to make 135. Like, it's coming. You know what I mean? Do you think Cyborg can make 135?
So yeah, once again, it depends on how she looks. I mean, you can never really gauge it because, some people look like absolute death at the weigh-ins and they perform the best you'll ever see them the next day. But I think if it's anything to go by, we'll see what she looks like at 140 on Friday. On Friday. And with a bit of luck, she doesn't look too bad, and she might be able to change her diet or something. I mean, she's just got such a big frame though, so it's just really not much that diet can do at that point, like without actually harming yourself.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how she looks at 140. She looks okay. Look, at 145 to me, she looks awful, but supposedly she's been working with nutritionists and all sorts of stuff. So hopefully it works out for her. Now, Mike Jarbs on YouTube saying Leslie got me excited about this fight. Leslie Smith's going out there saying that she's going to be the one known as the chick that destroyed Chris Cyborg. That's confidence / a little crazy, no?
Yeah, I reckon so. Like that's what I love about her. That's the type of thing you want to see. Like, 'cause how many people would be saying that? I mean, maybe a few years ago, everyone was like, "Yeah, I'll kick the shit out of her no matter what." But now everyone's like, maybe not. So it's refreshing to see, someone in the women's division actually go, "Yeah, I'm going to kick the shit out of Cyborg."
Dude, imagine if that actually happens. That would be insane.
Oh my days, that would be ridiculous.
Biggest upset in the history of the planet ever. Like, bigger than like Mexico beating France that one time. That's it'd be insanity. Anyway, so moving on here to the co-main event of the evening, a fight that's to me it's a kind of under the radar because everyone's talking about how Anderson's not on the card. So, but Jacare against Vitor Belfort, that's going to be a hell of a fight. Now here's the way I see it. We used to have TRT Vitor, right? And then they banned that, and now we have Dad Bod Vitor. All right, the difference being TRT Vitor can redline his engine for the entire fight and probably still be able to do a full workout after a fight. All right, Dad Bod Vitor gives you about 45 seconds of the old Vitor, and then he's gassed out, in my opinion. So I think Jacare destroys him. I really do. I mean, people are hoping for an exciting fight. If in my opinion, if Vitor can't finish him in the first, couple minutes of the first round, I think it's going to be a long night for the Phenom. What do you think about this fight? Who you got winning?
Yeah, I've got Jacare doing it as well. Like, I think we saw it with Chris Weidman as well, like exactly what you said. Like, the first sort of 45 seconds, we saw like Vitor actually, tag him with some really, really nice punches. But yeah, but personally, I think Vitor should be the only fighter in the UFC that's allowed to take any type of performance enhancing drugs. I think just let him, of all people, just let him be on something, just for entertainment value, please. But yeah, without it, I can't Jacare at all.
Yeah, I can't wait till Vitor retires and then comes back in Ryzen, where they let you do all that shit.
Yeah,
that would be honestly like, look, I'm all for. I am a full supporter of drug testing in the UFC and everything, right? But I think if you're a fighter that is already like past their prime, and you're going off to Ryzen and you're going to fight in Japan, let him juice. They want to fight, let him juice. So,
Most of them were on it, so surely they'd be on it now. Like, I can't imagine like, all the fighters that fought the last Rising card. Like, I'm pretty sure all of them were on it. You got to assume.
Yeah, so some of those fights were awful. Like,
yeah, the UFC card was great, and the actual first card was pretty shit.
Yeah. The what's it called? Gabby Garcia striking is laughable.
Oh my god, it's ridiculous, isn't it? It's so bad. Who am I to comment? But Jesus.
Yeah. See, look, I actually trained Muay Thai for a couple of years, so I can say shit. Okay, I'm gonna say it was shit. It was like, it wasn't even day one bad. It was, you were talking too much shit, and someone go, well, I got pads in the car. You want to hit? And you're like, oh fuck, he called me out on that. I better do something. That's how bad it was. So, anyway, all right, man. Main event, Brazilian heavyweight champion. He beat my boy Kane, so it's hard to say that he's a champion. Whatever. Verdum against Stipe Miocic, and again, to me, everything points to a Verdum win. Right? If it goes to the ground, Verdum can sub him. Verdum's striking has improved immensely. He hurt Cain Velasquez and basically made Kane take him down or try to take him down, which is hilarious to everybody watching. You know what I mean? Because you knew that guillotine was coming. So it really sucks. But an improved Verdum and a Stipe that we just saw get a massive knockout not too long ago, actually. And he also had the war with JDS that he lost. That long Mark Hunt fight where he dominated Mark Hunt. And then, Andrei Arlovski, the knockout in the first round at 195. Basically, do you give Stipe a chance against Verdum? Or, okay, let me take that back. The Stipe, you think Stipe basically upsets Verdum?
I don't know. I can't see it happening, if I'm honest. Like, the same with you when he beat Fedor. Like, you and Kane, me and Fedor. Like, it's just he keeps running through everyone I love, and it's fucking annoying now. Like, so yeah, I can't see Stipe beating him. I rate Stipe so highly. Like, out of all heavyweights, like he is one that can strike, he can wrestle, and he can go 5 rounds as well without any sort of hiccups throughout the fight. Like, but yeah, I think if we see Fabricio from the Travis Brown fight, Fabricio from the Kane fight, I can't see Stipe pulling it off, if I'm honest.
Exactly, and that's exactly my thoughts. If the Verdum that fought against Kane, the Verdum that fought against even Mark Hunt, even though Mark Hunt was a last second replacement in Mexico in that ridiculous altitude, the Travis Brown, he beat Big Nog in 2013. If that guy shows up, Stipe's kind of done. I want to pick Stipe. In fact, I'm going to pick Stipe. I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to pick Stipe to win. I think Stipe rises to the occasion, right? Sometimes we get these fights where the underdog rises to the occasion and does something nobody thought would happen, such as TJ Dillashaw or Renan Barão. Nobody saw that happening ever. Like, that was like, what the hell just happened? You know what I mean? I think everyone's jaw dropped that entire fight as TJ just destroyed Renan Barão. So in this fight, I'm hoping Stipe rises to the occasion. I don't foresee a knockout finish for honestly for either guy, because just like you said, Stipe can go all 5 rounds and without losing a beat, and he's not necessarily the easiest to knock out. I think Stephen Struve got him a few years ago, but that was, I think it was like a TKO stoppage. But I think Stipe is so durable. This fight should go all 5 rounds. Of course, if Verdum doesn't catch him in something. Some kind of submission. I think this fight should go all 5 rounds, but I'm hoping Stipe rises to the occasion, kind of like Alexander Gustafsson, but actually gets the W. Yeah. So I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. Hey, real quick on that before we close this out. Gustafsson, is it true that he's thinking about retiring? Because I read that he or do you think he's going to retire? Because I read that he's like, I lost a passion for it or whatever.
Yeah. Did you not see that he did that on April 1st?
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. He did that on the 1st of April, man. Yeah, and then literally like a couple of hours later, he uploaded the video and like it looked all serious, and then he basically said it was all a piss take. Because I saw someone comment on the other week, but yeah, because he was at Rotterdam, wasn't he? It was a press conference with Michael Chiesa and
the Q&A. Yeah,
and he seemed pretty up for it, like, and I like seeing him in the mix as well.
Yeah. No, that's good though. Okay, good. Because lately I've been staying out till like 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night at jiu-jitsu and working out and whatnot. So I miss all these things, and so I didn't even register it was April 1st. So good call on that.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'm glad he's not retiring. I want to see that guy fight. Anyway. All right, so that's gonna do it for UFC 198. Again, that's this weekend. Definitely a card worth buying. But I wouldn't think that bars would be packed up to see it. Like I don't know how it is over with you, Max, but here, if it's a card, if it's like a, I hate to say it, if it's a Demetrius Johnson card or Demetrius Johnson main event card, that's a fight you go to the bar because no one's gonna go to the bar to watch it. In fact, most people won't watch it. If it's like a Ronda Rousey, a Conor McGregor card, a John Jones card, even those cards fill up the bar like crazy. But this one is worth staying home, buying it with you and your buddies with just food, beers, whatever, and watching it at home because it is loaded. I mean, again, Lil Nog is on the prelim, on the Fight Pass prelims, and Maya's on the FS1 prelims. Okay, this is a good card. Now, if everyone performs like they should, it should be one of the best cards of the year, leading into 199 and of course 200. So yeah, all right, man. Little quick check of the headlines. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too crazy right now. I don't see anything new. Okay. Well, yeah, we're talking about MMA Junkie has the Vanderlei Silva thing. Apparently Matt Brown said Maya fight is the worst matchup for me. Well, at least he knows. That works.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least he's aware.
At least he's aware that he might be a little fucking this one, so that's good. Yeah. And then let's see. Yeah, nothing else in the headlines here. Oh, this is a weird one. I just saw it right now. Frank Mir reveals that the result of his B sample came back positive for oral turinable metabolites. So he faces like a 2-year suspension from USADA. That's a career ender right there, isn't it?
Yeah, he's effectively retiring him at that point, I suppose. Like, how old is he? He's 30.
He's not young at all. So I want to say he's like 38.
Yeah, and he's had quite a few injuries, and actually no, has he had quite a few injuries? Oh no, he's injured a lot of people.
Well, yeah, he's injured people, but he's also gotten hit when he was riding a bike, and that's like the biggest injury he has. So yeah, man. And I'm agree with you. If he gets suspended for 2 years, that's effectively it. That's like, we retired you basically because you're not coming back at 40 some years old and trying to come back, or you could do the BJ Penn thing, but everyone will be like, no, just don't do it, please. All right, man. Well, last thing here. Did you watch? Are you watching The Ultimate Fighter?
I actually am. Yeah. I've never gone off it since I started. I don't know why. I hate myself for watching it every time it's on, but I just have to. And thankfully, this season's actually been pretty decent because Joanna's just beef no matter what, just constant beef. No matter where she sees Claudia, she just fucking death stare, and it's on, and it's so jokes.
Well, yeah, but and on that point exactly what I want to talk about, because there's a lot of negativity coming at Joanna Champion now on because these days everyone's like, oh, we got to be nice to each other, we're sportsmen. They don't remember they still get in there and fight. You know what I mean? So I understand the Joanna thing, and I've watched like 3-4 episodes now, or not 3 episodes, I think. So I actually think it's a decent season, just like you were saying. I think the fights are better too. You got a lot of talent. Yeah, you got a lot of talent on the season. I think we're gonna get a couple good fighters out of it. What's that?
With a bit of luck, yeah, it's looking all right. Like so far, like the fights getting house were really, really fun as well. And forgetting almost every time I watch Tough, you just end up hating everyone in the house bar like 2 or 3 people. Like other than that, you hate them all. But without the personalities involved, yes, it's actually been a really, really good season, isn't it?
Exactly. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us today. Appreciate everyone coming, watching. Max, thanks for coming on, man. We'll for sure do this again. Yeah, definitely going to do this again. The funny thing is, usually when we have technical difficulties on the show, it like just dies, right? Everything just goes off. But even without having the video, man, it worked out really well. So I appreciate you coming on, man.
Yeah, it went all right. Wasn't too bad.
Yeah, definitely. No, it was a lot of fun, man. I always enjoy having people on here. All right, shout out to Mike Jars, Andrew Reed, shout out to Jay Russell, who watched and then went back to work supposedly. And everybody else that watches, we appreciate very much. So yeah, well, keep an eye on the Twitter feeds, and we'll link up for the next show. All right, everyone have a good afternoon. What's up?
I said thanks.
Oh, no problem. Don't hang up yet, though. All right, I'm gonna start the broadcast in a second. Again, we don't give a shit about the fourth wall. So you guys have a good one. All right, and don't drink and drive and shit. All right, see ya.